Overall good. The team we haven't really tapered, so the fatigue in the second half I think was certainly a result of that. DePaul's a good team. They're going to be a competitive team in the Big East, and I thought it was putting a lot of new. I think we had probably 20 players out there total. With a good mix of returners, I thought it was overall some good things. I think our defense certainly was in more sync than our attack, which is to be expected. And we like that just because we got to build that first and the attack was later on. So yeah, you felt tonight a lot of individual moments, but it wasn't a collected attack. And some of that is because you got new guys, and some is we haven't spent as much time. So overall, some good takeaways.
I guess to follow up on that, I mean, how good was it to get guys like Tommy and Sam and even Emerson kind of in there with some guys like Joe and Herb and those guys that have been around a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that first half, putting, 2, maybe 3 guys that didn't play a lot with a lot of the returners was good. Because then in the second half, it was harder because there was a lot of changes, so it's hard to kind of know what piece is kind of dictating either the good or maybe not so good. But yeah, I thought certainly the first half we had full control. Again, just the final pass, the connectivity in our attack, our movements were again not coordinated as they should. But again, I wasn't necessarily expecting that. And again, you put Vic out there, and it's like the conductor is there, and that's there was good music at times, but it wasn't organized, as we would say.
Speaking of Vic, obviously BB didn't play either, and Spencer obviously. Just can you give an update on it?
Yeah, Vic, we're just kind of managing him. He took a little hit in practice of the day, and so these games we weren't going to play him in every game anyhow. So this is just a good opportunity to kind of immediately try something different, and then he should be fine for Thursday. I mean, we could have gone tonight if we needed him, but instead of keeping guys not knowing, we just told some they're out. Obviously, Spencer took a little setback with his shoulder, so he's kind of at this point, I wouldn't say day to day, but week to week, kind of on what his status will be. And he's coming back from the broken leg, so we all felt really bad for Spence that he took the knock. But it's a temporary. It's definitely not going to be super long. And a couple other guys, BB was just had a little cold and held him out, and a couple of the guys had nicks but kind of played through it, so that was good. And we did play some guys longer in some periods, so that I wanted to kind of have them feel the fatigue. If it was, I would call a normal game, I would have made a couple changes to get fresh bodies in.
You also had some guys in different spots. While playing left back, right back, you had Helmer a bit higher up the field. What were you hoping to see from some guys in their different spots than they usually play?
Well, the back experiment, obviously with Maloon, obviously with BB out today, he's a solve in the back line, and yet we obviously would like him to be in the midfield mix in our rotation for this year, but he's still kind of the Swiss Army. Wherever we need him, he can go, and he's a starting level player for us, as he's proven. So Maloon's really the experiment. Can he play right back if we need to move some players? Lawson, I thought, was very, very good tonight. That was great to see. We saw that last fall, then the nick happened. I wouldn't call it nick. It was a good groin injury, and he was set back. So when he played against St. Francis in the tournament, he was not even close to what that Lawson is. So I thought that would look really good for, in theory, a freshman plus, because he didn't play much last year. And Spencer, obviously, when he's back, will give us a huge boost. So that experiment with Maloon kind of allows us, with Spencer out, to figure out, okay, if we have another, Nick, where does all the dominoes happen? Quentin, we feel is very good in the final third, and we wanted to get him closer. It's just he and Sarver weren't necessarily connected tonight. I thought Witt did some really good things wide left, but he was fatigued in the second half. I thought first half he was, it was just a matter of when. I felt like we just could go another 10 minutes to the half, we would have found a goal. And Tommy showed tonight what he's special. I mean, he can open the game up with his own individual moments. We just weren't able to get him into combination play. And he's a good passer and he's smart. We weren't thinking as a unit tonight offensively. So those are some of the experiments that we were looking at. that. And I think we got Patrick McDonald played some big minutes, played him a left back. He's a left-sided player that might give us another depth, even though, he's young and looks really young when you look at him, right? Slight kid, but he did a good job.
Ask you about Andrew Goldsworthy. I know you got him in the second half there, the local kid. Just kind of how's he looking?
Yeah, I thought Andrew had a solid game. I thought he started off a little nervous and timid, which to be expected. But then as he grew into the game, tonight I thought Andrew kind of showed like he's moving into that depth role. Where last year he was, so we used him different spots because he's such a defensive and attacking weapon on restarts, and he's so strong. So we use him to turn more as a 9 and also to help on defensive restarts. This year, I think with some of the pieces, I don't know if we'll have to use him there, but we didn't get bigger this year. So we lose, AJ's size and airplay, and we didn't necessarily gain a ton. So we have to do it as a committee, and Andrew still can help us. But I thought he was, again, after the first 5 minutes, I thought he settled in and, did a really nice job. Again, we're comparing him to Daniel Muni, who's, elite. So that's where it's always, it's unfair. I'd say the one guy tonight that was really clicked in and was kind of had close to his A game was probably Joey Mayer. And that's just the way he's wired. His focus and attention to detail is way above most his age. And I thought tonight he was probably the consistent piece that played kind of like what you would think he should look like. We had guys that played really well at moments, but then dropped off. And Joey kind of stayed very consistent. So it's great to see. He wasn't the only one, but I'd say he was the most consistent tonight.
How was it having fans back? You guys almost had like a regular season atmosphere here.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we don't really promote these exhibitions in a sense. I mean, people know about them, but I think the students that came are going to, they're going to realize they're going to have an impact. I went and talked to some of them as they came out and said, "Hey, bring your friends. We're going to meet all of you here. Everyone's excited to be out." And so I know when it comes to the opener, the Tuesday Butler game and then the Classic. I mean, I think this place is going to be rocking. So it was, and that's the part. I mean, we had some freshmen, and I call them freshman pluses that played last year that didn't play in front of a crowd until College Cup. And if you didn't play in that game, then you've never played in front of a crowd here in the Jersey. So we had, a good number that's the first real feel of playing with that part of Armstrong. So that was good.
You mentioned Joey, his consistency today. You took the armband, his leadership. Is that something that you've been impressed with in him?
Oh yeah, I mean there's a genetic piece to that family that's pretty special. The leadership is one of those. He's locked in. He's a great teammate. His communication is well above where his age is, and certainly if he was a senior, I'd say it was good. And we need more of that. We need some other guys to step up, and I think slowly they're doing that. But yeah, the team thinks very highly of Joey, and he's earned everything. He's everything, and again, he's been a little bit in the shadow of some other really good defenders, right? These last couple of years, so he doesn't feel like a sophomore. He definitely feels like he's been here for a while, the way he plays.